Okay, and now we are ready for our next speaker. Mike, are you here?
Yeah,
okay.
Hi, I'm here. 1 second.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, I did it so wrong, so well, I know that you must be here somewhere, but we can't see you. No.
Hi, sorry, yeah, that was a quick transition.
Yeah, now. Oh, it's so nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a few months already.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yes, it's been a while. Hi.
Okay, I'm very happy that you are here and that you decided to join us and to support this event. Mark is an English teacher and he is based in Newcastle. He has been my English teacher for a year, maybe, or even more. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you are looking for an English teacher for yourself, okay, it's just a recommendation. Okay. Just in case. Okay, and also Mark, I think he is passionate about games. He knows everything about games, about all kinds of games. He plays games just for pleasure, not only in his lessons. And he is also the author and the founder of the website Teaching Games AFL. So the link to his website with lots of games is in your chat. And today Mike is going to share some of his ideas with us. Okay, and he will speak English, definitely. He doesn't speak Russian, not yet.
Yeah, shall I share my screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Great. Okay, so and you can see it, right? You can see the presentation?
Yes, we can see. Can you open it like in slideshow?
It should be there now, is it not?
No, not yet. It happens sometimes. Yeah, I don't know why.
If I just go back and click slideshow again, will it do it? Is that?
No, we still can see just, we can see all your slides. Maybe.
Okay, let's try this way.
Now? Occasionally it happens. Yeah, now it's fine.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk fairly briefly about a few concepts and introduce a couple of games. The games are on my website, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time giving instructions to the games. I'm going to talk about them and direct you to them. And so if you're interested in the games that you see during the talk, then you can find them on our website with everything you need to download and print yourself, and 300 to 500 words explaining the game and how you play it. I'm also easy to contact if you ever have a problem playing my game. So with only 15 minutes, I'm not going to focus on how to play the games. I'm just going to kind of talk around them. And then I'll see after the 15 minutes if I've got time to kind of go back and go into some detail if anyone has questions at the end. Of course, yeah, feel free to kind of comment questions, but I'm wary of time because I've given a version of this talk which is a lot longer. So I'm aware of how sometimes I can go on a bit. So here we go. So this talk is just about using game mechanics to make your materials, and also sideline like what games aren't, the kind of the mistakes I think some people make when they try to make games and try to use games in the classroom. And again, at least in my opinion. Okay. So what I really want to think about with this presentation is when you're making new materials, is it good enough to use again? Will students practice and produce the target language? Like, will it do actually follow the lesson plan? Will it contribute to the lesson rather than just being a fun distraction instead? And can it be adapted, improved, and recycled for other levels, topics, and language structures? One of the things I really focus on when making games, when making classroom materials, is I don't want to spend 30 minutes making something that I will use once. I prefer to spend an hour, 2, maybe even 3, if at the end of it, I have an activity which I can use again and again and can be used for different levels, different language structures, different vocabulary, different contexts. Because even though I spent 3 hours instead of 30 minutes, at the end, the time I've saved a lot more time by investing it in something that I can reproduce. Okay, and games are following rules and making decisions. They're not just rolling dice, scoring points, and having fun. Of course, to people who play games, rolling dice, scoring points, and having fun, that seems to be what games are about. But when you're making games, when you're planning them for your lesson, you need to understand that at their core, for them to work, the students have to follow the rules in order to play. and they have to be making decisions actively to be involved in the game. And I'm going to talk about randomness, points, and competition in each of these aspects in turn. So the first one is rolling dice and randomness. If you look online for games, often what you'll find are board games like the one in this frame, where you just roll the dice and move around the board. And for very young children, that's enough of a game. They're too young to kind of make decisions. So that's why we play these kind of games with very young children, kind of 5 and 6 and 7. But randomness on its own isn't enough of a game mechanic to make a game that is something you can repeat, do again, that students are going to be interested in, especially at older ages or adults, which of course I play lots of games with adults as well. You've seen these games before. You go around the board, you maybe talk about X or make a sentence with something, talk to your partner about X. And all you're doing by moving around the board and rolling a dice is randomly selecting from a list. That's not really a game. It's the start of a game, perhaps, but it's not a game. So I made an example here. You can see it's a little bit old with Justin Bieber being there. But this game, just sentences where students are thinking about the future using present perfect continuous. And all I want them to do is to make some sentences. At the moment, it's not much of a game. Basic rules: roll and move, make a sentence. The other players in the game decide if it's correct or not. You can't copy or repeat anything someone else has said. And when people get to the end, they look at the spaces they didn't use and they have to work together to make some sentences themselves. That's the basic version. And it's okay, but it's not quite a game yet. So we can expand the rules a little. We could have vocabulary on the board, whether we use something like linkers. So in 20 years' time, Leo Messi will have retired because he will be too old to play football. In 20 years' time, Leo Messi will have retired as a player, but he will have become a manager. Adding linkers so that the students are forced to make extended sentences means that they're choosing a word from the board. That's their kind of decision, the linking word from the board, making a sentence from what they randomly landed on. And now there's a lot more choice involved. There's a lot more interaction, and there's going to be a lot more variety in the sentences. Our students to save the best sentences, either from themselves or from each other. They can also, once they've played once, where they're making realistic predictions, play again with trying to make the most creative, ridiculous predictions they can make. So in 20 years' time, Leo Messi will have become British Prime Minister and reversed Brexit. I don't know, like just very silly ones. We can also cycle players. So students playing the game, and then after 20 minutes, you just get everyone to freeze and swap partners. And before they continue, each person must try to remember 2 sentences from their previous game. I always have lots of activities where students have to remember sentences done by previous people, things that have been said. It means that my students know I'm going to ask them to remember things. And so they start to pay attention and listen to each other. So that's the important thing. Okay, so that's randomness. Scoring points in competition. Just adding points doesn't make it a game. That's not enough. And when you're setting teams up to be competitive against each other, that's okay. That's fine. It's great. But think about the dynamics within the group. Is everyone in the group contributing? Is their motivation driving students to learn and use the language? Or can they just win with other means? Can they win the game without really engaging in the language? That's something to really always check when you've made a game. So this is a page I was using to make a game. At the start, this is a word formation activity where we've got suffixes on the ends of these words as a part of a word transformation. So ignore, ignorant, beauty, beautiful. Okay, so they're changing these words into the others. And one way to add competition would be something like getting students to race. Okay, who can do it quickest? Or getting students to do it on the board, and mistakes, they lose a point, things like that, some basic things. If I spend a bit of time, I can make a bit more of an engaging game. So what I've done, taken the words from the activity and added some other kind of common words. I've got the suffixes there as well. So I've made these cards, cut them out, and we have a board like this. So I've got the board here with the suffixes and the position on the left, position on the right. And there's two ways to play this. We could have two teams, maybe two teams of two. I don't want teams bigger than two. I want partners to discuss things together. More than two, and suddenly I've got two people who are actually discussing the game and one person who's not as involved. So I don't want teams bigger than two for this. They look at the three words, pick the one they think they know the answer to, and on their side of the board, like for example, team one might be on the left, they put it in the right correct place. So peace to peaceful, for example. The next team replace the card. So there are always three to choose from, remembering that choice and decisions are an important part of the game. Without the choice of three, they're just getting one randomly. They're not thinking about them for very long. Next team, pick the word, and again, try to place it where they think it should go. By having the three here, one disappears, the easiest one, everyone thought was the easiest one. The two remaining are there a little longer than the easiest ones. So students have more time to think about where they might go. Just inherently gives them more time to think about difficult words. Once they've played, sorry, I got to understand. Once they've played the game, then I hide the game from the students and they have to recall and remember and write the words on the board. So there's competition here between the two teams, but there's inherent cooperation. And the other way of playing the game is to forget competition altogether. And so have, instead of left and right being team one, team two, have two people working together, have their own board, play the game just as before, but instead of just picking which one they think is right, if they think they're positive it's correct, they put it on the left. If they're not sure, they put it on the right. And then with scoring, on the left, if they're right, they get 2 points, the one they're confident with. If they're wrong, they lose a point. On the right, where if they're not so certain, if they're right, they get a point. And if they're wrong, they don't lose anything. That means they're choosing, when they pick a word, they're not just choosing which is the right suffix, but they're talking about their confidence level. It also means in monitoring, I can see the words they're confident with. I can see the words they're not confident with. I can also see their mistakes. Whereas if they were just doing this as a written activity, it would be harder to visualize the mistakes that my students are making. So the activity is also designed with monitoring in mind. Okay, I'm aware of time. I'm going to go through the last one. Just because students enjoy playing a game does not mean it belongs in a classroom. Having fun should be the final consideration. Having fun happens if the game is well designed, if there's a good team dynamics, if the competition feels fair. If it's just fun, that doesn't necessarily mean it's contributing to your lesson. Here's an example. This game, you wouldn't think of it being particularly fun. I've just got some words and phrases on the board, and I put them on the board. I ask students to think about what they think connects these words. I then put make and do on the board. Give a green pen to one team, their team make, a red pen, another team, their team do. And each team takes 2 seconds to think. Then one person goes forward, puts a circle around one word they think collocates with their word. Is it do a mess, do the right thing, do an excuse? Team do is thinking just for do. Team make is looking just at make. They circle, go back, swap pens. I give them another 2 seconds to decide. Then go, circle the word, come back. And at the end, we've got this. Then we discuss what's right, what's wrong. Not a particularly fun game, really. But the movement, the activity is enough to keep students engaged. And at the end of it, again, we've got a clear visual of what students are making mistakes with as well. So a very quick game, a very easy one to set up. I just have to write words on the board, but it has the things I'm looking for. Okay. I've got this one as well, but you can see that on my website. So when you're thinking about games, rolling dice is great fun. That's fantastic. Having teams and points is great, but there are so many other things we have access to as teachers and as game designers when we're making games. Puzzles, riddles, voting, lying, deception is a great mechanic, storytelling, singing, rhyming, gambling and betting, a lot of listening activities, I'll have kind of the predictions will be more like a little kind of betting game. There's lots of things we can do. And so it's easy to think about dice and points as being the very synonymous with games. But there are so many other things that we can do. Okay, I've got some challenges for each of you. The level 1 is pretty straightforward. If there's a game or activity you already use, maybe it's one from a book or one you've got from a website, take it and try to use it with a different language point or with a different context, different vocabulary. Just try to change it and see if it still works. If it does, you've added a game that can now be used in lots of different classrooms, not just the one that it was successful with. Level 2, a bit more difficult. If there's something you've read about, something you've seen at a conference, something you've seen during today, but you haven't used yourself, take it, use it, and then also try to adapt it to other things. And 3, make something new based on a game you like or an idea you have. See if it works with students, and there you go. Right, that is is everything. I hope I wasn't too long.
Okay, thank you, Mark. That was perfect timing.
No problem. Does anyone have any questions? If
Okay, let's give a round of
pass it
applause
over.
to Mark. Okay, and now if you have any questions, so it's time to ask them. So
and as I said, all those games are there. You can see the link I've just shared.
The link is in the chat. Yeah, you can have a look, read the rules, and use the games in your lessons. I do it sometimes. Okay. So, any questions? No, everything is okay. A lot of thanks. Okay. Yeah, Mike, thank you. Super ideas. Thank you. Great.
You're welcome. I hope I wasn't speaking too fast. That felt like I just whizzed through it. As I said, you can contact me if there's something you have questions about. And the website does have full instructions in hopefully clear language, some of it annotated. So I hope that if this talk was a little bit fast, a bit confusing, go to the website. Hopefully everything will be clear. And please contact me if you've got questions.
And we have here some comments that have been using your site for many years. So we've got your fans here. Okay, thank you, Mark. It was nice seeing you today. And thanks for being with us. And there is a question, where can we contact you? So
if you go on the website, there's a link to my email address. I've also got like Twitter and Facebook, all the kind of typical things you would have. So you can email contacts on the website as well. I won't share it here. But yeah, there's many ways you can contact me.
Okay, so thank you, Mark. So
no problem. Thanks a lot. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone.